Time.
All right, and we're
All right.
live at Lucky 13 Saloon podcast. Melody and Frankie, and we have
Special guests.
Special guests here today. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Chris Krovatin.
Axel Rosenberg.
Axel Rose. We have Axel Rose in the house.
Rosenberg.
Oh. And so, what do you guys? What's going on, guys? What do you guys here? You guys here to promote a book, I hear, right?
We are indeed. We're here to promote our book, our upcoming book called Hellraisers. It comes out on Race Point Publishing in October, and it's a sort of a superfan's history of heavy metal with like a lot of beery, obnoxious opinions, and ripping on Phil from All That Remains, and just really talking about metal the way it actually was for a couple of chuds who lived through it.
What period do you start from?
I guess we start sort of proto metal, like sort of metal before it was called metal. So like for every section we do like the big four of that genre, and so for that it's like we do like Sabbath, Zeppelin, Alice Cooper, and AC/DC, that kind of stuff, which was metal, but like maybe they don't like to be called metal.
Rock and roll, like late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah,
I got you.
I
Cool.
just did one of those things like you click on Facebook and it says it was like what metal band is going to be playing at your funeral, and I clicked on it.
You don't have to actually take a test. It's
You
like
don't
a
have to take a
rando.
test. It's just like
I'm sure that's
scans your
very
fucking profile.
It scans your shit.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sure that the government isn't looking at that.
Yeah, no. But it said Alice Cooper, and I'm not even a big Alice Cooper fan.
Yeah, that's because it was just someone getting information on you.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool though, because if it's at your funeral, he can like use your body as a prop.
That's
what I
true.
mean? Like suspend it over people
That's
or
true.
cut its head off. Or
Alice
whatever,
Cooper is supposedly pretty bitter about the whole Kiss thing, right? Is that
that true?
Yeah, didn't he say that he was the first one to put on makeup and all this shit? I saw an interview with him somewhere where he was talking about he was the first one to put on makeup, and he doesn't get the credit.
I mean, he does. He gets credit from the old guys.
He gets
that get, you know what I mean?
But I think maybe he's.
But then
Gene
when
Simmons
the guys
obviously
like,
has billions of dollars, and he doesn't.
Kiss, and then Marilyn Manson upstages him. You know what I mean? And I know there was the whole thing with
And what was the story we
Marilyn
covered?
Manson, so.
Gene Simmons wants to copyright.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with
single
what
with
we're
the
talking
hand.
about right now, though.
Yeah.
Chris, you want to give? I don't know if your co-author here has a writing background, but maybe you want to talk about why you wrote a book.
I can neither read nor write. Chris had to do everything. My name's just on it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Mostly Matt was like, we chained him to a pipe and kind of fed him a lot of peyote, and I was like, so tell me about Limp Bizkit.
Awesome.
And he would go for it. So I actually am a writer. I'm a YA writer, like a young adult writer. So I write like books for teenagers who are angry and have lots of feelings. And one of the things is I wrote this series of zombie books for grade school kids called Gravediggers, which is
And they're adorable, and you should read them even if you're an adult.
totally
Yeah.
Because I read them.
Yeah.
You should read them. More importantly, you should buy them if you're an adult with all your money you make from work. And I think if you ask anyone at Lucky 13, they'd say it's the zombie Twilight.
Yeah.
It's
JP
the great,
calls him Zombie Twilight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's the great YA zombie story of our time. Full of murdering living corpses and sexual tension. And things like that.
Gravediggers.
Gravediggers.
Oh, I gotta look. That's some on Barnes and Nobles. I gotta look them up.
Frankie loves to read.
I love to read.
Yeah. Look at Frankie's chin.
Did he fall on his face?
I don't know.
No,
Did you fall drunkenly on your face, Frankie?
No, not this time. I had a fight with a Gillette.
Wow.
Awesome.
I don't know.
I
Were you
shaved-
drunk when you shaved?
No.
Were you on peyote when you shaved?
No, I didn't have the shakes, but no, it was a clean blade, and so I was like.
And you were too sober,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you
I
couldn't
was
hold
just going
it
to say,
steady.
it might have been more of a DT than
That's
a
what it
two
was.
kind
Yeah.
of thing.
That's wait till you see him picking up the papers to read the news.
Yeah.
No, I
It's
haven't
like
had
an
a shot
earthquake.
yet. I haven't had a shot yet.
No, we know.
It's
That's why
definitely
you're
like
shaking.
an earthquake is happening.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Cool. So now, do you guys go? So is it an opinionated book? Is that what it is? Is it like what is it?
Yeah, it's a pretty decent mix, I think, of fact and opinion.
Okay, cool.
My day job is I run a site called Metal Sucks. And
Oh, yeah, okay,
we're
yeah,
very opinionated, as the name would suggest.
Yes.
And I don't really care to write impartial stuff. It bores the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It's boring.
It's boring. Yeah.
And I only care about if I'm having fun or not.
Yeah, and that's what matters.
Which I will say, it was fun as hell to write this book,
Yes.
man, because we really got to got to take a moment instead of just being like, this was a genre that was. Its signature thing was this kind of vocal or this kind of guitar, and we can be like, let me tell you about fucking Cannibal Corpse for a second.
Right.
How far? I'm sorry to interrupt. How far does it go? You said it goes like the late 60s,
Yeah, we went back
70s.
to this fast. Frankie, you got to sit down.
Well, we want to know. He wants to know where it goes to.
How far? Yeah, how far
Like
does
modern day,
now.
like
Right,
now.
okay.
Brings it right up to now.
You're talking about all up to heavy metal now.
Tomorrow.
Right up to the disappointing record sales of the new Suicide Silence album.
Oh,
Literally a few
Jesus.
months ago.
thank you. Okay, so
Okay.
it's modern. Oh, you go to the 20th
yeah,
and 21st
yeah.
century.
Cool.
Thank you.
I had a moment where I ran over to my editor and I was like, how far along is the book? And they were like, Chris, it's in fucking proofs. You can't do anything else. And I was like, Chester from Linkin Park just killed himself. And she was like, oh God, okay. Can you write me 2 lines in like the next 5 minutes? And I was like, yeah. And so literally I printed out the page where I talked about Linkin Park.
Wow.
And I put 2 Post-its on it with a paragraph at the end. It's funny because my whole thing about Linkin Park was for all the new metal bands, they were the most well-adjusted and the ones who seemed the least troubled.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
of course, yeah.
Good.
I'm
good
glad
job.
I caught this.
Did you put
before,
side note?
Well, I wrote at the end. I was like, and yet.
I didn't even know that you had added anything.
Oh yeah.
It's a good thing you had to
very
come on the
well-organized
podcast.
duos.
Yeah, to find that out. Yeah, this is where the secrets come to light.
How long did it take you to write?
Well, it was a bit
fast.
Our publishing house came to us.
It's like anything. Like they have a budget and quarterly whatever. And so
Right.
the good news is you're writing a book. The bad news is it needs to be out a year from now.
Yeah, you have a deadline. Yeah.
It's been
Your
very,
publishers.
and that's why we're making revisions 2 months before it comes out.
right.
Yeah.
Why I'm, if we had written the book a year ago, there was no way I could have done any extra revisions. But that's the beauty of it is that we're very much in it. We're taking part in it. But it was I think we handed in our rough draft in March. Maybe April.
March or April.
Yeah, so it's been a wild ride, man. But it's been cool in the meantime too because that just means there's not that sort of often with publishing. It's you hand in a draft and 2 months later someone comes back and they're like, "Hey, we just started reading this." And this was much more we hand in a draft and then all of a sudden it's great. We have 2 days to interview the dudes from Psy or whatever. You know what I mean? So it was crazy, but it was a lot of fun.
So-
Matt Heafy from Trivium wrote the foreword. And it was hey, dude, would you write a foreword for our book? And he was like, I'm honored. When do you need it? And I'm like, last week. God bless him. He did it really quickly.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
He was the man. He let us call him the dreamiest man in metal because Lord knows he is a dreamy gentleman.
Yeah.
Good looking, young.
I want about it some more.
I was just gonna say maybe we could just talk about when in the dream the window opens and Matt Heafy floats in and his shirt's open and he's glistening.
Yeah.
The number 1 selling heavy metal book on Amazon is called Bassists with Benefits. It's exactly what it sounds like. So there might be a market for a book about dreamy Matt Heafy.
Shut up.
Shit, man. We gotta write the great metal erotica book where it's just
If you need help with that, let me know.
it's I turn around and Kerry King walks into the room, sweat beading on his bald head, and just go from there. Kerry, I love Slayer. Please don't kill me.
Yeah. We just saw them last week. They were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Were they good?
Yeah.
Were they good?
Yeah, it was
I was
great.
surprised.
They brought Jeff Hanneman back to life?
No.
Oh, so you didn't see them?
Yes, we did see Slayer, and they were phenomenal. Because the last 2 times I saw them, I didn't like them. I didn't enjoy them. I felt like they were not really on their game, and I felt like they were on their game this time. They had a really good set list also. You disagree?
Yeah, the set list was good, but it's I like Slayer's Jeff Hanneman, Dave Lombardo.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
But if somebody dies, the band should still go forward.
It should, but I just kind of feel
Should it?
Yes.
I don't know.
Sometimes I think if it's the front man, it's much more difficult.
But that set list was probably 80% songs written by Hanneman.
So what? That doesn't mean they can't play it.
No, it just means, I don't know. It seems weird to me. I didn't, it's not a concerto.
Yeah.
I'm paying to see the dude.
Still, but also too, these guys are fucking making all this. These guys how they make their living, and they're still going to keep fucking going at it.
Obviously.
And
I'm speaking in an ideal philosophical.
Yeah, because we all want our bands to be exactly I wish I wish Cliff Burton never died because they sucked after he did, but I don't begrudge them whatever they've done other than the Napster thing.
Yeah, well, listen, I just felt like, I don't know if I'm going to go see Slayer again after this.
Yeah,
Like, it was
that's
cool,
fine.
you know what I mean?
I just enjoyed it because I was
missed
happy
Behemoth.
to
I
hear
was
a
bummed.
lot of, like, I was happy to hear a lot of the older stuff, like Hell Awaits and Chemical War. Like, I was happy to hear the older stuff. I wasn't sure if they would go back that far.
It's interesting because I do feel like the times I've seen Slayer after Jeff Hanneman died, they've played some of the weirder, cooler, older shit that I've wanted to see. Where I finally get to see songs like Behind the Crooked Cross or Skeletons of Society or stuff live. That maybe while Jeff was around, they're like, no, we've got to be playing all this stuff from God Hates Us All or Christ Illusion,
right?
As opposed to now where they're like, fuck it, play Final Command.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Why not?
So I kind of, that approach I enjoyed, that they did a lot of old stuff and they had a lot of fire going on.
That's all I see from that show.
There was a lot of fire. Because there was a lot of fucking fire, man. I was like, all right.
It's funny though, when Tom Araya comes out on stage, I just think of like that Will Ferrell from that movie Elf. He's like, Santa! You know what I mean? Like, right when he comes out. Every time I see him, that's what goes through my head.
I know him, Santa.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I liked it, and I'm the biggest critic. I think everything sucks. I go to shows and I'm always bored. And
what'd you think
I
of Lamb
really
of God
enjoyed it.
and Behemoth?
Well, Behemoth is one of my favorite bands. They can do no wrong by me, but I missed most of it because for some reason they started at 7. Even though
Yeah, it
the
was
ticket
started so
said
fucking
7,
early.
they started at 7.
Yeah.
When the ticket says 7, I usually assume that means doors.
Right.
They
8:30.
started at 7, and they only played a half an hour.
Wow.
Which is total fucking bullshit when you paid $78 for a ticket. And the fucking Behemoth is your favorite band, and you only got to see like that very end.
Yeah,
which
I completely missed
Lamb
it.
of God, I don't like the whole video screen thing they're doing. I could do without that shit, but I thought they sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to Lamb of God, but I think they put on a good live show. I don't really love their new stuff, but I thought it was.
Yeah, I don't love their new
thought it
stuff
was
either.
decent.
I like early Lamb of God.
He looks like he weighs 4 pounds, though. Like, what happened to him in Czech prison?
I think there's a part in the book where we describe him as a rabid scarecrow.
Yeah,
basically.
but that's
where just
exactly true.
You look up in the corner of the room, and there he is, like perched up there.
You
know
got
what I
that
mean?
on the
Like,
nose,
yeah,
because that's kind of what he looks like.
Yeah. He's sober now, though.
Well, maybe it
That's
was
why
all
he's probably
beer
only
weight.
4 pounds.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
he lost all that weight. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man.
Good for him.
And I mean, if you've ever seen that video of him fighting, who was it? Is it Mark Morton? He's fighting. You know,
It's like fucking classic.
out of him.
Yeah, and a kilt too, right? Doesn't he have a kilt on?
And Randy starts the fight. So
Yeah.
just that way you're like, you got no one to blame for this but yourself.
Yeah, it's fucking embarrassing.
Amazing.
So that is a moment
Amazing.
where I'm like, maybe stop drinking. You know,
Yeah.
maybe just take care
But
of
to
it.
this day, I just give them so much credit for putting that out.
Yeah,
So many
yeah.
bands would be like, no one can ever see that.
Yeah.
Oh, I would never want anybody to see that. I'd be like, no fucking way. But he did, you know what I mean? Which is, it's. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have let myself fucking.
So getting back to your book, you were saying that you did did you say you did the big 4 for each?
Yeah.
So who was your next big 4?
our next
After
big four?
after the first 4? Who's the
After
second?
like Black
Okay,
Sabbath,
so-
Led Zeppelin.
So I think it's
Broken down by genre.
yeah,
Okay,
by, like,
okay.
So like I think for NWO BHM it's Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Motorhead, and Venom.
Okay.
I think we picked.
classics.
For thrash, it's the big four. It's Slayer, Megadeth,
Right.
Metallica, and Anthrax.
Of course.
What was it for glam?
Oh, fuck.
Poison.
Poison, Molly Crew, Guns N' Roses,
Wasp.
Skid Row.
Oh, Skid
yeah,
Row,
that's
good.
Skid Row,
Makes sense.
okay.
I always
Yeah.
feel like Skid Row don't quite get the credit they deserve.
Yeah.
A much heavier band than people remember. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when they
Yeah, they
showed
were.
videos on heavy metal
Right,
back
right,
then
right.
at Bangers Ball.
We have this customer. Speaking of Venom, we have this customer we call Venom Tracksuit because he wears a tracksuit every time he comes in. The first time he ever came into the old Lucky 13, he roller skated in a tracksuit.
Like
and
not
asked-
rollerblades,
roller
roller
skate
skates.
and ask us if we had any Venom in the jukebox, and I thought we were being trolled, but it's actually he will listen to nothing but Venom, and no matter what is going on, he screams play some Venom. Even if there's a band on, he screams play some Venom. So he came in the other night in his tracksuit and his hat with the fucking black metal mask, the fucking Kronos black metal mask on, and he bought it from me.
Yeah.
He was like, I bought this for you, but he came in and it was in the tracksuit. I'm gonna have to show you a photo of it, wearing the guy. But that thing is cool as shit.
He had it in his house, and he lives with his mom, and he's
Wow, that's shocking. That's shocking that he lives with his mom.
he's like, my mom wants me to get this out of the house.
yeah,
so.
he told me he was getting it for me though.
Yeah.
He
That's
did.
nice.
Well, he's a very sweet customer.
That's funny.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's cool.
so I'm glad you gave Venom such props
Hey, I
to
mean,
put them into that big four.
Who's
'cause-
the
tracksuit guy.
Who's the death
Yeah.
metal big four?
We had to combine Death and Grind, so it's
Okay.
Death, Napalm Death, Carcass, and
Cannibal
Cannibal
Corpse.
Corpse.
Okay. I say Cannibal
That was
Corpse
a
had to
hard
be on there.
one.
Yeah.
To me,
That's Venom
like,
tracksuit in his tracksuit
I changed that.
and
a lot.
his mask.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
actually,
hard one.
I'll have to post that on the Facebook
That's
page after we.
creepy as
After we,
fuck.
yeah, it was pretty creepy. He just walked in like that,
Yeah.
like off the street.
It's funny because with a hat on top of the mask, he loses the Venom black metal thing, and he just looks like a really creepy, effete guy.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna post that. I'm totally gonna post that on the
Just some
Yeah.
creepy dude.
Facebook later on.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man, because fucking, there's other bands that could be thrown in there, fucking,
For sure.
Obituary.
I mean, they were
right?
all hard, but that one, at least for me personally, was like the hardest one to say. Okay, these are the four.
How do you pick four?
Well, that's I was just going to say that the best part about the Big Four thing was we would send each other's chapters, and they would always come back with some note being like, fucking, no Morbid Angel, what the fuck? Or,
Right.
and so the Big Four thing, when we were like, let's add a Big Four for each genre, we immediately made a note of this might be where the book doesn't get written because we just get in such loud arguments
Right,
about
right.
I know for doom metal, one of them was High on Fire, and there was that brief moment of is High on Fire a doom band or
Right.
a stoner thrash band or whatever and stuff like that.
Who's the big four for Doom?
For doom, I think it's Trouble, Saint Vitus, High on Fire, and fucking Candlemass. Candlemass. It had to be Candlemass
Had to be
because they
Candlemass.
invented the term doom metal. And
Trouble though, interesting.
Yeah, Trouble.
yeah, for some reason, it's funny because there was I kept going back and forth between Trouble and Pentagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I think for Pentagram, for me, there's just such, a child of Black Sabbath. And I really hear Trouble as, a band who, did a different thing with Doom. They had that kind of high, shrieky vocal and that sort of Doom, but with that kind of real chuggy riff to them.
Yeah.
And the whole white metal thing that was, a weird Doom aspect. I was like, I gotta give them props for
That's
that.
fair.
So, but Doom metal was interesting because
That's a tough one.
It was a tough chapter, man, because first of all, just obviously in preparation, I was so fucking high while writing it that there were moments where I was like, oh fuck, I forgot Neurosis, man.
It literally begins with a description of weed place in history, not just in music, in history.
Right.
Awesome.
And yeah,
Jeff's
yeah.
gonna run out and buy this book. He's
I'm excited
totally
about
excited
this.
about it. Yeah,
I'm really
Jeff
excited.
reads a lot of musician biographies and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
so
Cool.
This is right up your alley.
Yeah, totally.
Jeff doesn't read a lot, but when he does, it has to be in this kind of genre.
It's true. It keeps my attention. I can't read fantasy and all that kind of stuff. It really doesn't do much for me. But yeah, I'm really excited about this.
Well, it was cool for a lot of these chapters. We got to interview a lot of people about them and get exclusive interviews. And so for Doom, I got to talk to Wino, and Wino was just it's funny because he would repeatedly be like, I'm not even sure Vitus is a Doom band. I guess The Obsessed might be Doom, but I don't really know. And, it's hard because I'm sitting there being I'm like, dude, Vitus is a Doom band.
Yeah.
But
the early bands in any genres never want to call themselves what they are.
Totally.
Because they're that's not what we set out to do, but they started.
But they were the ones that inspired bands like Neurosis and
Yeah.
Sleep and, you know what I mean? All those bands. So.
No, I mean, that was also interesting just to hear, you're covering Motorhead and you're reading all these interviews where Lemmy's we're not really metal,
Right,
and
right.
at the same time, you're sort of I don't know, man,
Yeah.
where it's am I going to be the guy being Lemmy said he wasn't metal, but he was wrong. So, what are you going to do?
That's a weird another weird one to put Motorhead in the category. You know what I mean? They went, yeah. That's why it was interesting always going to a Motorhead show because it was all fucking mixes of people. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
great.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you had your stoners and your bikers and your metal dudes, but also your sort of punk rockers and stuff like that. You know. I mean, one of the most pleasurable things about researching this book was I got to reread Lemmy's autobiography, which for me is maybe the best.
I actually haven't read that one.
It's
Is
just
it a great one?
It's just so much fun because
Yeah.
it's very obvious.
I never read it either.
I don't think he wrote a word of it.
Right.
I think he sat there with Janice Garza and talked at her for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Great, I've
Yeah,
got
yeah,
everything."
yeah.
and you just learn some weird, cool stuff about Lemmy, you know, and about the rock and roll. Like, there's a part where Sid Vicious comes up to him and is like, "Dude, I'm playing bass for the Sex Pistols," and Lemmy's like, "But Sid, you can't play." And he's like, "It doesn't fucking matter, but I got the job."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, man, yeah, you know." So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of the other big fours we came up
Well, you
with.
can write a sequel.
Well,
Hey.
You can write a sequel.
Right.
and find out the other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah,
Giving
that's
it away
true.
for free. Yeah.
That's
So
true.
the black metal and whatever. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to it. So is it out now?
It's out October 2nd, I guess
Okay.
is our pub date.
So you can pre-order it. Can you pre-order it on
Yeah,
Amazon or anything?
Yeah, we do have a pre-order on Amazon. Please go and pre-order.
The exact title is?
Hellraisers, A Visual History of Heavy Metal Mayhem.
Okay.
Is, I believe, the exact title. It's got a cover by Mark Riddick, who does like art for like the Black Dahlia Murder and Death Clock and like every fucking death metal band.
Yeah.
And so like Bieber and Rihanna.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He recently redid the logos for Justin Bieber and Rihanna to make them like super metal, and it was funny. Like our marketing people were like, they were like, "Tell us about Mark Riddick," and we're like, "Oh, he's done stuff for Devourment and Morbid Angel and
Rihanna.
And I guess he did Rihanna," and they're like, "Ooh, Rihanna." I know Rihanna. I'm like,
Justin Bieber. I don't know the other bands, but I know Justin Bieber and Rihanna.
Yeah.
We were talking recently about the new trend in this mainstream bullshit, taking on metal logos, T-shirts, and all of this crap, and how strange that is. You know that the Kardashians, that she stole the logos of certain bands and put them on T-shirts that were selling for $125 a pop. Like, what do you think that's about? Why is metal cool all of a sudden?
I don't think metal's cool. I just think the T-shirts are cool. Like last year, Vogue, like for their big summer look for women, they included vintage metal shirts.
Have you been reading a lot of Vogue?
No, but I read about heavy metal for a living. So, like,
Band
I
T-shirts
think
sell.
even if you don't like Slayer, you can't deny that their shirts look badass.
Right.
So I think that's all it comes down.
They were $45 for T-shirts at that show last week.
Madonna.
When we saw Iron Maiden at Barclay or
55.
It's
And
insane.
for
Like,
Ghost too, which I know isn't Ghost's fault, like the headliner sets the price, but
Yeah.
it's like fuck you.
no, I mean, if a shirt's more than maybe like $25, but for me, like 20, and that might just be my age. You know, I'm not adjusting for inflation or whatever.
But it's not like you're
it's a
buying a
lot.
jersey. I can understand
Right.
50, 75 bucks for a jersey. Hey, I love bands.
Listen, and we know it cost them.
$50.
We know it cost them
We know it
$6 to
cost
make
them-
that.
Yeah.
fucking
But then
t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But
Like,
then again, at a lot of these places, like I know at Irving Plaza, they charge them.
Yeah, they take a cut.
No, that's a good call.
and they bang them out. Could you imagine what the Garden is charging?
I'm sure it's ridiculous, and you know, bands don't sell
Records anymore. So that's
you know
how
what I
they
mean?
make
So,
money
so
now.
that is, and especially like Iron Maiden. I mean, they're fucking just cashing in until they're done. You know, so
That's something that I think
merchandise.
is very true. The older guys are a lot of times sort of like we're talking about Slayer without Jeff Hanneman. You know, there's this idea of like, I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep doing this, so
Yeah.
fuck yeah, I'll charge 25 as opposed to 20 for a shirt. You know,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
And just like, you know, as we're saying, like a metal shirt is badass. I have shirts from when I was like 13 and stuff like that I'm like, you know, only I can see the logo. Like, it's so faded. It's there. It says Deicide.
do you ever try them on sometimes and like fucking?
Yeah, you got the armored plates in the armpits and shit. You know what I mean? No, I mean, I feel like for the metal T-shirt thing too, for like the Kardashians wearing them and stuff, it's partly just that like metal is so earnest that like there's this feeling of there wasn't somebody calculating, being like, okay, how will we put the Guess logo on there so it'll look cool? It's fucking Morbid Angel being like, there's gonna be this fucking harpy and it's tearing this guy's eyes out and there's blood everywhere and it's all taking place in purgatory. And so there's this idea of like, oh, it's so cool, it's earnest, you know, like I want that earnesty, I want that energy, you know, from it. So, but I mean, it's also kind of funny because it's kind of like, you know, at a certain point, on the one hand, I'm like, I don't really. A part of me wants to be like, I don't care because, like, whatever, wear whatever fucking shirt you want. But on the other hand, it's one of those things that, in my like ridiculous old metal dude way, like infuriates me.
It annoys me sometimes. I have to say,
Yeah.
because the other day I was on the subway and I saw these like total hood rat kids, and they literally had the pants way below the ass situation going on, and two of them had heavy metal t-shirts on. One of them had a Maiden shirt on, and one of them had a Metallica shirt on. And I was just, I know you're not listening to Metallica or Maiden, you know what I mean?
Man.
They were like full on, hood rat. No, I can clearly see your ass in your underwear. You know what I mean? So are you going home and listening to Maiden? I don't know. I don't
These
think
days,
so.
it's more common than you would think, especially for a band like Metallica.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, Metallica are...
Well, they're not even metal anymore, really.
And they're like as close to the underground as a cloud. Like they're
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're sort of almost, I think for a lot of kids, I'm sure they're like, I don't know who, like when this Metallica brand started, but they make cool shirts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, and
So you're arguing against me.
sure, no.
Thanks for all your help, Chris.
But I think it could go either way,
And I think it probably could go either.
Yeah.
And Metallica's so out in the they're so prevalent right now too. Like they've been doing so much, and I mean, it's got to
Lady
pique some
Gaga.
of these. It's got to pique these kids' curiosity. Yeah,
Really
well,
terrible.
What are you gonna do?
It's terrible what's happening.
What are you gonna do?
What's happening? It happened. I mean, they've been establishment for 20 years.
I know,
Yeah.
but I've hated them for a really long time.
Oh, me
I
too.
used to love them, but like when everyone was
I
like, "Oh
can't
my
hate
God,
them.
did you see Lady Gaga with them on the was it the Grammys?
Yeah.
The Grammys?
You know,
I was like, oh Jesus! Like it just gives me more and more douche chills. I thought I was done being annoyed by it, but it's like every time it's a new level of disgust.
See, I can't hate them. Like, I love their early shit so much, and I just feel like I can't hit them. I am like annoying friend who does stupid shit all the time. But I love you, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, dude, what are you cringing? But you're like, fuck, man, I love you, though. You know what I mean? Like,
That's fair.
yeah.
I'm not that sentimental. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, we had some good times. Well, peace.
Yeah. See you later.
I sort of felt like the friend who were like, I'm in town, and I'm like, oh man, I was out really late last night, and, but I'll see you soon, right? You'll be back through. Right?
Phone calls, I missed your call. I'm sorry. I didn't get your email. I didn't get your email.
Your girlfriend's like, who is that? And you're like, oh fuck, it's Metallica. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna turn it off. No, it's funny. It wasn't until I interviewed Kirk Hammett at one point for a thing, and he's just such a horror nerd, and he and I talked about like Bela Lugosi and Deranged and stuff, and so that officially sort of redeemed them a little bit for me, of being like, you're just nerds like me, or at least he is,
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure.
don't know if that applies to all four.
I was gonna say, I'm sure Lars, it would have been different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why does everyone hate Lars so much?
He's an asshole.
Yeah. He's done the most douchey stuff.
I heard him talking about how he went with his kid to his kid started college. I don't know how many kids they all have, but one of his kids started college, and he went with his kid to in the beginning to get him set up and check out the campus, and people were obviously like, oh my God, your dad is Lars, you know what I mean? And so now his kid won't be seen with him. So if he has to come to campus, he's like, can you walk somewhere else?
Yeah.
Can you not be near me? Which is really fascinating, actually.
Why? He's like, his fucking dad's annoying. You know what I mean?
But it's not just that. People are also like, holy shit, everybody
Of
knows
course.
who he is, So that's just interesting. I never really thought
And
about
when you're a
that.
teenager,
when
you
you
don't wanna fucking
embarrass your
stand out.
fucking children, even when you're in Metallica,
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
pretty amazing.
No, I mean, there's that great photo of Tom Araya with his kids at some appearance, and he's screaming at the camera, and his daughter looks so embarrassed of him, man. You could tell it's just he's doing the Slayer
Mid
thing.
eye roll.
You're gonna have to send that to us because I need to see that.
That's pretty awesome.
So we're gonna do some news, and you guys are welcome to comment on it because that's
Awesome.
usually what we do. We
Awesome.
talk a lot of shit about whatever happens to be in the news.
I've never spoken shit about anyone.
I think you're the perfect people for this. Although I don't know what any of the stories.
Metal
are.
sucks live,
Yeah, I didn't pull any huge stories this week because long stories. It was all pretty short.
Okay, because you figured we had guests and we didn't want to.
Yeah. I don't want to drag on all.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, heavy metal news for the week. Every Time I Die's frontman baptizes people in a pool during the band's set. Every Time I Died played a set in Las Vegas on July 28th, and this time the crowd appeared to have, in return, doesn't say there's a blank.
Get it together, Frank.
No, there's
Yeah.
a blank spot there.
What?
What'd you give him?
Oh, maybe my
Are you
printer.
fucking with him?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not
I
drunk
think
yet.
Jeff's fucking with you.
Yeah.
Pope Keith Buckingley began baptizing fans during the set and a hotel pool after the concert. Yeah.
Do you notice the shaking and sweating happening right That's why we have Frankie do the news.
Yeah, because it says crowd surfing out there. Crowd surfing out there, and because apparently every time I dies, good stories all start with someone crowd surfing.
I have no idea what happened.
I don't know. Apparently they were baptizing him. The singer
in
got
Las Vegas.
baptized
In a,
Who was
after the
baptized?
show. The
Why?
singer.
Why?
I don't know.
Because he's
Why
never
not?
been baptized?
I have
yeah,
no
no,
idea.
it doesn't say. You know, they were crowd surfing, and he baptized
Frankie.
them in a pool. I'm telling you.
It's like 3 sentences.
It's 3 sentences.
Yeah. See.
He baptized people. He didn't get baptized.
No, he was baptizing
He
them.
baptized people.
He was baptizing
Why?
fans who were crowd surfing.
Are they like?
Oh yeah,
They're
no.
not religious.
I think they're one of the Christian bands.
Are
aren't
they?
Am I
Every
thinking of
time I
As I
Die?
Lay Dying? I might be thinking of
if
As I
they're
Lay Dying.
religious, fuck me. I
Oh
don't know.
no! Every time I die, oh man,
It's
I
news
don't
to
think
me
they're
if they're
religious.
religious.
I was gonna say, are you sure he wasn't drowning people?
Yeah,
Are you
maybe.
sure he wasn't
Who is he?
holding them down?
No, he said in some
It
pool
says-
in
it
Las
says
Vegas he was
after-
baptizing
All right,
them.
Frankie,
After the
shush.
show, and they called him Pope Keith Buckley, which is hilarious, began baptizing fans during the set in the hotel's pool after.
Who is he to baptize
I don't
people?
know. It
That's
says
funny.
contact His Holiness if you too would like to convert.
Yeah, you should start doing that back here.
Baptizing people back here.
That we'll get a little kid.
Yes.
We'll get a little
Can we
kiddie
fill it with
pool.
blood?
We'll dress you up like a priest.
Can we fill it with blood?
Sure.
I'm going to baptize people in blood. Back
I was gonna say, have you guys ever done like church services here, like in the name of Satan?
We
you
actually
know?
had a whole satanic ritual. The satanic
The Satanic
church,
was
the
here.
Satanic Temple.
They did a
excuse
thing
me.
here.
Church of Satan, Satanic Temple set. They're all different. The Satanic Temple was here, and they did a whole thing for women's rights to raise money for women's rights, and they did a whole exclusive satanic ritual and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. And and then there was, and not long later, a couple weeks later, we had a Christian
We
band.
had a Christian
in here.
band, and the guy was talking about Jesus in
Yeah.
front of our giant pentagram.
Yeah, it was kind of awesome.
Rough times.
yeah.
Go ahead, Frankie. Tell us about the next story.
Sick of it all, victims of car accident with drunk driver. No, yeah, New York hardcore legends Sick of It All are currently on the road on their Warped Tour, and last night their touring van was hit by a drunk driver. All members are okay, but they're a little stiff, but okay.
They're a little stiff.
Yeah.
They're a little stiff.
Yeah, thank God that could have been fucking awful. So many bands getting fucking
I
hit.
know.
And,
Hit
you know,
by
all this-
trailer,
destroyed.
tractor
Yeah, man.
trailers, and fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said last night a drunk driver plowed into our bandwagon. We're all
Yeah.
okay.
And they're
You know,
almost done with
aches
the
and
Warped
pains
Tour.
and
It's almost
bumps.
fucking over.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So we're
Did they catch the guy? Does it say?
was
they're
a-
feeling
there was-
a little stiff.
There was a picture of it. And,
Yeah.
Feeling a little stiff.
yeah.
They had the bad cop, good cop on their Valiant tour, for coming to pick us up. But yeah, they said please don't drive drunk. Yeah, no, they caught the driver.
Yeah,
and
he
then
was-
he
Are
got
you guys
hurt.
making Frankie
he got
nervous
hurt.
today?
What's that?
Frankie, are you nervous because we have guests?
I'm always nervous.
You make him nervous.
I make everybody nervous.
No, you're good, Melody. No, they said they caught the guy and he was in worse shape than the band.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
He was
Good.
in worse
Fuck
shape. Yeah,
yeah.
you shouldn't
Yeah,
drink.
I
Don't
like when that
drive.
happens.
I'm lucky I can walk out of here when I'm drunk. Thank God I don't know how to drive.
Jeff
really.
drives drunk all the time.
I never drive drunk.
We were interviewing some bartenders before you guys came, and one of them was like, she got in the car with him because she was trying to get the job here, and she didn't realize he was fucking wasted. He barely remembers dropping her off.
Yeah, I didn't really remember dropping her off.
Good times, guys.
You
Yeah.
ever forget where you parked?
No, because I have
He has
normally,
two spots.
I have
He's either
two
right in
spots.
front of the bar.
Yeah, and I have a garage where I park my
Yeah,
car
so
at.
it's,
So I'm usually
that he
in
can
one or
find.
two spaces. Yeah.
That's lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good. Usually, listen, I don't get too fucking wasted when I'm driving, but
Jeez.
I've had moments. Usually, my car stays out front here if I do.
Yeah, not when you go out. When you get wasted here, yes.
Yes.
Not when you go out.
Well, I usually try to make my way back here, and then
That's true.
Then I take a cab from here. I live all the way the fuck up by Coney Island, so it's a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yeah. So the car is necessary.
yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's cool. You put on cruise control and stay between the lines.
Jesus Christ.
Autopilot.
It's a good thing law enforcement isn't listening to our podcast.
No.
Boop, boop. Frankie, next story.
What's he got going on, Frankie?
Ex-AC/DC frontman Brian Johnson flipped his car at a recent race.
Everybody's having car trouble.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He said, ex-AC/DC vocalist Brian Johnson, and again, that's blurred out, not my fault.
No, I think my printer's running out of ink.
Is it one of the colors? Is
Yeah,
on?
yeah, yeah.
He said, losing...
It's like Mad Libs.
I was just thinking, you know, like,
He was
we
like-
need a plural noun here. You know?
It's like Jeopardy. It's like, no, he was losing his hearing, though Johnson had a bit of bad luck, according to blanked again, but Johnson, he flipped
Let's fill in the blank, Frankie.
He flipped his Austin 435 while competing at the Silverstone Classic in England.
Yeah, he fucking...
He races?
yeah, he races cars.
He was tended by medical, staff on the spot. No word on his health yet, but
How old is he? Can you do that even when you're
he's pretty old, and I think
when you're an old dude?
I think the cars are part of the reason he was losing his hearing, as he was
That was
saying.
the main reason.
Oh,
really?
Like the
I
roaring
didn't
of the
realize
cars,
that.
well, what's his name? Dale Earnhardt, right? Died at 60. He
Right.
was still driving at
Right.
60.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. How old is fucking Brian Johnson's got to be? He's got to be 60
Gotta be,
something.
yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't
easily,
say. Didn't say in the article.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I figure what was it, I'm gonna guess in his 20s for Back in Black. So
You think he was only in his 20s for Back in Black?
you think he was older than
He
his
was-
20s?
Now
he
I'm
was-
gonna look it up.
He was born
don't know.
in 1947.
Wow. So he's got to be in his
So-
70s.
So 70s, yeah. So
Geezer.
he's 70. I guess he turned 70 this year.
Yeah, turned 70.
October 5th.
October, crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Right around the time your book
I
comes
was
out.
just gonna say, you could celebrate his
Right,
birthday
right.
by ordering
Yeah.
50 copies
Yes,
of Hellraisers: A
yes.
Visual History of Heavy Metal Man.
Correct.
I totally got an AC/DC kick listening to fucking going through the news a few weeks ago, watching on Metal Injection, because there was they asked the kids, what is it, with to listen to music and
react.
Yeah, the kids react to music, and it was an AC/DC one. It got me on an AC/DC kick for like
Oh,
a week.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
watching the old videos. Yeah. What else you got, Frankie?
Eurozone frontman and Tomcats West owner Rustin Luther passes away at 31.
Who the hell is Rosen?
It was a guy that owns a nightclub down in Texas, and he's in a band also. He's 31, brain cancer.
Yeah.
Oh,
God
why would you
damn.
put that story in there? That's fucking depressing.
Well, not every fucking story's upbeat. You know what I
None
mean?
of them are upbeat.
It can't all
but
be
that's
car
terrible.
crashes.
Yeah.
He needs some brain
Terrible.
cancer to cut the.
He passed away of brain cancer
break
at
up
the age of
To
31.
break up the car monotony. Yeah.
Was he in a car when he died?
No, right? No, he wasn't. Yeah, but back in April 2016, we learned that frontman, and
How do you know?
frontman in
no.
Fourth West TX, that was the bar.
That was TX. Frankie, that's abbreviation. That's an abbreviation
Texas.
for Texas.
Sorry. Well, I said TX, sorry. Yeah. Rustin Luther has received news that he had terminal brain cancer, and he passed away. Rest in
My
peace.
favorite-
You got brain cancer.
My
It's like,
favorite
fuck.
episode. My favorite episode we did when Frankie started doing the news. I don't even remember what the story was anymore, but it was something that happened in Paraguay, and
Oh, yeah.
he pronounced it in 17 different ways during that episode.
I didn't say Paraguay. I would have said Paraguay or something.
Unbelievable. Pagatar was one of
Pagatar.
them. I was crying tears. It was amazing.
But he says there's 2 hours services August 6th at Tomcats West
In TX.
in TX. Sorry, Texans. And on August 7th at the Dirty 30 in Dallas.
There you go. Brain cancer. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, 31. That's young.
That's
What a-
brutal. 31.
I told you I watched.
Celebrity deaths used to be in 3. How many celebrities have we lost? Like last month? 10, 20?
Did I talk about the last week? I watched the Grim Reaper guy back on stage.
I don't remember.
The guy, the guy from Grim Reaper lost
Right,
his
right.
fucking leg.
Yeah, we did talk about how he didn't last very long, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't that one
he
of
was,
the news stories.
It might have been.
Yeah.
I might have been, but I
That
actually
he
watched the video. He
Oh,
was
you
like,
watched the video.
Yeah, I watched the video.
How
yeah.
bad did he look?
I mean, he looks like an old woman anyway. You know what I mean? When now he looks like an old.
like an
he
old
does.
woman,
I
not
feel
even
he
an
looked
old
like an old
man.
woman in like
See you
87.
in hell, my friend.
Yeah.
I see you in hell, my friend.
Yeah. And then it was Rocky to Hell. That was pretty much the same song. It was just a little. You know what I mean?
So how long did he last in the video?
Half a
Is
song.
he on?
I
He's
think.
on like a prosthetic leg.
He's on a prosthetic leg, and then he sat in a wheelchair.
That's right,
And I gotta be
yeah.
honest, there's nothing more depressing than watching a band fucking guy playing a wheelchair. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, It was pretty fucking depressing.
What about Def Leppard? What about the?
Yeah, but he had all those fucking electronic.
I mean,
one-armed
you don't think that's depressing?
No,
Like
I mean-
this is the level that we have to get.
I mean,
to
it's depressing,
So you
but-
can still play
Didn't he
drums.
lose his
Yeah.
arm in a car crash? I mean, I'm not.
We're back at the car
Yeah,
crash
yeah, the
again.
car, you know, right?
It's like
Yeah.
theme of the day.
But no, you're right,
He
they
was
made a
thrown
special
to
drum
the
set.
sunroof,
Yeah.
And his arm was not.
I mean, I'm glad he came back. You know, hey.
When we were when I was a teenager, Angela, if you listen to this podcast, I'm sure you don't. We had this girl, Angela, that was obsessed with Def Leppard. Obsessed. She was like, it was ridiculous. And when that happened, she was like crying hysterically. She was so upset. So we got a fake dummy's arm, and we put a little bit of a British flag on it, and we glued a drumstick into the hand, and we hung it in front of her house.
Funny enough, Def Leppard did the same thing to the drummer.
Did they pour some sugar on him?
Good times.
It's funny she was broken up about it because it's sort of the coolest thing that ever happened to Def Leppard.
They make them more famous.
Oh, before that, I mean, that big fucking record after that. I mean, after he lost his arm, that's when
Yeah.
they like really broke the fuck
Yeah.
out.
Someone cared.
Yeah.
My friend Russ came here on one Halloween dressed up like him. He had the one arm missing.
Oh man, the drumstick in the hand.
He had the Def Leppard shirt pinned closed on one side and the wig, and he had the drumstick in the other hand. It was actually kind of amazing.
Awesome.
You might be able to tell me this because you listen to Glam, but when have you seen him play live?
Yeah.
Have you seen when he drums? Does the end of the other arm move
You
around?
can't see it because it's in.
It's all like
He's got it enclosed.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, they said he's good. You know, I'm glad. Hey,
Yeah,
more
I mean,
power to you, man. You made a good
Best one-armed
comeback.
drummer I've ever seen.
So you've seen Def Leppard live? I've never seen them
Yeah,
live.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
I mean, like that Glam was my gateway drug.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
I have like a soft spot for
How-
all these
how old are
bands.
you?
35.
Okay.
So yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah.
They're exactly what you would think.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a little soft spot for glam, but
Some of that
the
hair
harder,
metal.
the harder
hair metal. Yeah.
stuff, like Twisted Sister and
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
and Wasp and
Wasp.
you know, bands
Well,
like
we
that.
all love Wasp. We
Yeah.
can't not love Wasp.
It's funny when we were doing the book, we each had a chapter that the other one like just didn't like give a shit about, never really understood, and it was our gateway drug. Where for Matt it was glam, and for me it was new metal.
Right.
And so we
Alright.
got to new metal, and I was like, I want to do new metal, and Matt was just like, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God, man.
What about you? What's top? Well, you gotta give me the top. I can imagine the top.
Well, you
four
do the
new metal
classics
guys.
and the new bands, right? You said.
What are your top four new
Good.
metal?
For new metal, like the big four we did in the book is Korn, Limp Bizkit, Slipknot, and Linkin Park, and like.
Okay.
Yeah, Korn was
It
good.
was
What happened to
probably
Limp
my
Bizkit?
favorite thing was when I was doing captions for the chapter. There's a picture of Fred Durst like at the height of his Limp Bizkit game, like with his hands up and
Yeah,
everything.
Limp
And the
Bizkit.
caption I wrote for it was just because every time I looked at it, I was like, look at this fucking asshole right here, man. It was interesting because I loved new metal when I was young and got into it, but like it, you know, the worst new metal bands are the worst of the worst, man. Like, you know, Bodies by Drowning Pool is like everything wrong with
Yeah.
metal.
Well,
Right?
I mean, listen, it was the same thing with hair metal. You know, when the bands
Yeah.
first started out, it was Twisted Sister, Wasp, Motley Crue. You know, all these bands came out.
Then it became
and then it
Poison
became.
and-
Well, then you got bands like Slaughter and
Yeah.
Kicks and fucking, you know, bands like that. Like, and it just got, you know, who were
Gayer.
the- Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
hairspray bands. The
were the-
hairspray
who were the,
bands.
Fruitier.
Who were the who Nelson? You remember
Oh
Nelson?
my God.
Oh, my God.
Just stop. You're hurting
Yeah.
me. You're hurting my soul.
Cinderella.
Yeah.
You know, was always.
Cinderella, though.
Tons of hairspray.
Did you
know?
did you say Trickster yet?
Trickster. Vixen.
Cinderella, I can't say I hate it either.
No, I liked Cinderella. I
Yeah.
always feel like if they hadn't dressed like that,
They would have been bigger. Yeah, I think
their
so
later
too.
albums are very like southern rocky and not
Yeah.
like poison
Hey, they
at
kept
all.
hairspray in business.
Yeah.
It's funny because Night Songs by Cinderella, while I refused to listen to Cinderella, and then some chick I was seeing was like, you got to hear Night Songs, and she put on Night Songs, and I was like, okay, man, you know, this is good music to take your shirt off to. You know what I mean? Like,
They're a little different from the pack.
yeah.
Yeah. They actually had potential, like to. I think you're right. If they didn't dress like that, they would have
Well,
been.
I think a lot of those bands
bigger.
had potential. It's just that some of them went in weird directions.
Yeah.
I loved the first 2 Motley Crue albums. Loved
Yeah,
them.
man.
Yeah, Motley Crue was.
Totally loved
I
them.
would say
Yeah.
like the first 5 up through Dr. Feelgood.
No, I said it.
I'm quite a bit older than you guys, so
Okay.
my perspective is just different.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Everybody says. I, for example, think Korn is the shittiest fucking band ever.
And I agree, and we argue about this all the fucking
The
time.
first Korn albums are awesome.
See, that's what Jeff
See,
thinks. Jeff's in your camp, Chris.
See, I'm older than you. Actually, the first Korn album I think is awesome.
Yeah.
After that, I think it's garbage. When I loved that first one so much, it was so different. It was
You
kind
want
of
to
like
scat for us a little bit, Jeff?
no, but it was kind of like.
Thank
but
you.
it was kind of Godflesh for the mainstream. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it was palatable more than like I know Godflesh is kind of an acquired taste or whatever. But it was like fuck, this is heavy bass driven. You know what I mean? Like it was very good. But then when that second album came out and it first opened up and it's like I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then it was like twist. I was like. What the fuck happened to this band? Like, they put out such a great first album,
Twist.
and then it went to shit. I was like, it was so disappointing for me.
I love so much for me listening to them to research the book is the difference between like the yelling and then all of a sudden the weird like sort of like broken doll keening thing he does where he'll suddenly be like dead bodies everywhere and stuff like that where it goes from some real like to all of a sudden it's like, don't you know, and you're like this is
I can't.
and it's one of the things too is going through their back catalog, like every album is about basically like he touched me in the bad place, like it's the running theme of Korn. And in the first one it's some real like and it fucked me up royally, and in the later ones it's sort of more about like like what am I, where am I going, I'm a broken doll, you know. And so
It's like kind of like OTEP.
we talked to
Touched
OTEP
in the
for the
bad
book,
place.
man.
Did you?
We talked to her we did a section on sexuality. In
I used to
metal,
fuck OTEP.
man. Crazy.
Yeah,
How
about
was that?
She manhandled me more than any man ever has.
Interesting.
She didn't mention that when we interviewed.
I was gonna
No.
say that didn't come up. Like Melody. She was at one point. I was like, so what do you think that gay women have to deal with in metal that a gay dude might not? And there's a pause. And she goes, I don't think anyone ever told Rob Halford he just didn't have the right pussy yet. And I was just like, thank you, OTEP. Like that's the soundbite right there.
She's gotten incredibly political.
Sure. Very political.
She always wasn't she?
It's not as when I was hanging out with her. Not
Well, it's-
not like she is now. That's like her thing.
Well,
now,
everybody's taking it to the extreme now, just what's going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard not to be political.
I
She's
guess.
someone who I really respect her, even though I don't like her music.
Yes.
Whereas Korn, I think should just fucking suck an egg.
I like this guy.
Yeah.
I like this guy's completely nihilistic attitude.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
You say nihilistic, I say realistic.
Frankie, what's our last story?
This is depressing. Some,
This is depressing. Not the 31-year-old who died of brain cancer.
no,
This is
that's
depressing.
sad. But some joke
That's
was
just
auctioning
sad.
off Chester Bennington's funeral service items.
Oh, man.
Really? Last Saturday, July 3rd, Lincoln Park frontman Chester Bennington was laid to rest at a private funeral service at South Coast Botanical Garden. And Lily's gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. Palos Verdes?
Just try and read it, Frankie.
TX.
Palos Verdes, California. According to reports at the time, the service was attended by a few hundred people, including the likes of mice and men.
What was he trying to? Yeah, Frankie, you don't have to read the whole thing. Like, what was he trying to sell?
They were giving away post pictures and VIP passes, and they were selling them on eBay.
Program.
Yeah.
It was like a laminate you needed to get in.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
And what was he charging for it?
that they don't say, but still
$51,000.
Really?
23 bids when it got pulled down.
Yeah, 134
No
bids.
shit.
Oh, 134.
That is fucked
But
up.
it's the guy's funeral, man. It's like, it's a celebrity. Let's make money off it.
That's the way the world works.
Yeah, it's 21st century.
If you wait a couple weeks, you can just go there and get some dirt. And,
Sell
hang
that.
out
You can sell
there,
everything.
you
Google
know,
it. Yeah, you can
right.
sell everything on anything on the computer.
But
Brutal.
But no, that's super fucked up.
People are fucked up. I mean,
No
$50
respect.
grand and is like, you know
For
what would be a
that.
good use for this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A piece of paper
What
from a
Lincoln
guy's
Park
funeral.
fan has 50 grand
Yeah.
hanging around?
That's a good point.
man?
Well, like
That's
Park
a
fans
really
are getting
good
older
point.
now.
How much Manic Panic hair dye can you buy with 50 fucking grand? You know, man.
But I mean, if you attended the funeral, that's a keepsake. Oh, I got a VIP pass, Lincoln Sink, the funeral from the front singer of Lincoln Park. Oh, I'm gonna put it on eBay.
All right, Frankie.
Can we muzzle him now?
Yeah, Frankie. We're
muzzle him
going to
now?
start muzzling you at certain points.
So I don't know if you guys heard, but Mortician is playing here
When?
September 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time I saw Mortician was at Vitus, and Will's bass kept picking up a Polish pop station every time he played it.
Oh my
So
God.
every bass hit, you would hear some like Polish chick singer.
That's amazing.
And so they tried to play, but like all through Slaughterhouse and shit, you would just hear like bad Polish pop.
That's
through some
unbelievable.
green-
Yeah, that's weird.
So midway through, all of a sudden, he was just like, "Stop! We gotta fucking fix this!"
Yeah.
And stormed off the stage.
Yeah.
And so. I would be excited to see them without.
I am excited to see them.
Nergal's
Here.
girlfriend.
I'm excited to see them here because he actually wrote me a message on Facebook to say, "Hey, I'm really excited. I haven't been to Lucky 13. I can't wait to check it out. Like, what a nice thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know,
cool.
so that's
I'm excited.
gonna be
I like
awesome.
Mortician, too.
We just put ticket link up yesterday,
I haven't seen Mortician since Castle Heights, actually.
Oh, geez.
It's been that fucking long, yeah.
so that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
When I
Very
was in high school, we did this play called Wojciech, which is about this guy who he becomes a guinea pig for the army, and he goes insane. And he murders his wife. And my director was like, "I need the most unpleasant death metal song you have." And so I gave him the Zombie Apocalypse EP by Mortician, and he came back being like, "This is cool, but like, is there any that's like music?" And
Awesome.
All right. Do you guys have anything else to say? Anything else to plug?
Plug the book and everything again, also.
I was gonna say,
Metal sucks.
Buy my book so I can pay my child support payment.
yeah.
Congratulations. I'm sure the book will do well.
Thank you. I am Axel's son, so please buy the book so Mom can buy me some hot
Chris really
Cheetos.
needs vaccination.
The title, once again, is called Hellraiser.
It's called Hellraisers. It's a
If you go to Amazon and you look for Axel Rosenberg, it is literally the only thing that will
Okay, and it's
Nice.
You can pre-order
All right,
it
Frankie.
October.
you can pre-order it.
now. It comes out in October.
Comes out in October. Hellraisers: A Visual History of Heavy Metal Mayhem. Yeah,
Cool.
order a bunch of
Awesome.
copies.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having
Go
us,
to
man.
metalsucks.com also, right? Metalsucks.com.
That'd be nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Chris, anything else you want to plug too? Children's books?
I was just gonna say just my ass, really, but other than that,
Yeah, by the way, can you show Jeff your ass while we're on the air?
Oh, yeah.
Please.
So you're not seeing it.
You're not seeing it. I can post a photo of it, though, because I have a photo of it.
So
This is why I love Chris more
this
than life.
January, I got the Motorhead War Pig tattoo.
This January, he got the Motorhead on his ass.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. It's beautiful.
And then he posted it on Instagram.
You know, it didn't hurt that much because viewers at home, you can't see this, but my ass is like huge and horrible.
And Harry.
So there was a lot of stuff in the way, but it took 5 fucking hours because my tattoo artist is very thorough
And really likes your ass.
Oh man, he was slaving over my hot ass all day. And, it's funny.
time.
I was being so cool. I pulled down my pants. I laid out. I'm like, can't believe I'm finally doing this. And he walks up and he's like, so you want it on this cheek? And he like taps my ass, like really quickly slaps my ass.
Yeah.
And that's officially where it all went out the window. And I was like, oh goodness, you know. And then it just hurt so much.
Why is that not the cover of your book?
Oh man, if only I was actually. I remember talking to my coworkers, and one of them was like, so what'd you do this weekend? I'm like, what I do this weekend? I'm gonna tell you what I did this weekend. I got a tattoo on my ass, and they were like, what'd you get? And I was like, the Motorhead War Pig, and like 9 out of 10 of them were like, what? And there was that one chick in the room who was like, yeah, snaggletooth.
That was the note we needed to sign off on.
Yeah, I hope you didn't eat
needed
broccoli
you to see
before that.
Oh, ooh,
Yeah.
oh, ooh.
Man. The best part was later in the night. Everyone was, well, the best part, you know. Later in the night, everyone was like, show me your ass. And I'd be like, no, it's not going to heal right if I show you my ass. On that note, buy my fucking book.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming on. It's been fun.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week.
Peace out.